ministry.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה.
Little faster.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Welcome everybody and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Let's try it again. Shabbat Shalom. Sheep seats in the back. Shabbat Shalom. Great. Everybody, we are so psyched to be here. Abby is getting ready to lead us in our prayer, in our service, offering us words of Torah. We want to say Mazel Tov to her and to parents Laurie and Alan, big sister Emily. Friends who are joining us online, welcome, welcome, welcome. Just a word of where we are. You can see the bat mitzvah is up on the bima. She and her family are up there without masks, and the rest of the congregation is masked about 30 feet away. I am Rabbi Spike Anderson. We have Rabbi Rachel Miller to my left. You all know our bat mitzvah, Abby Cohen. Take a moment if you're online and let us know who you are and where you are dialing in from. And for folks who are in the sanctuary, let's turn to the people behind you, in front of you, next to you. Hello, my name is. Good to see you. Really, reach. Make a friend. Make a friend. There'll be a quiz afterwards.
אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
So, Abby, we talked about, how are you, first of all, Abby? You doing okay?
I'm good.
Good, good. We talked about what this means. Bat mitzvah is a rite of passage, that somehow in the next 90 minutes, through leading us in prayer and sharing words of Torah, you become, in the eyes of your community, a young woman. Really, like abracadabra, in the next 90 minutes, you become a woman. And there are signposts along the way to help memorialize that, commemorate that, raise that up, to lionize it. One of the things that does that, one of the main signposts, is the presentation of your Tullis. So I'm going to ask your parents, Laura and Alan, to come on up. Abby, the tradition is that last week, yesterday, you weren't allowed to publicly wear Talos because it's for adults only. And now, at the beginning of your service, as a sign of you becoming a Jewish adult, your parents are going to present you with your very own Talos. So Laura, now when you are ready, on page 5.
As this Talos is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth.
As you
you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May the simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence. As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition. Okay, so now Abby, you're going to recite the blessing over the Talos.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzi.
We all say amen.
Amen.
Okay, so mom and dad are going to wrap you in the Tullis and fix your hair. Now, this is a touchy-feely service, or anytime it's remotely appropriate to give her a squeeze and a kiss, go ahead and do that. Stay up there if you would, Alan and Laurie, because I'm going to ask Emily actually to join you for a sec. Go on up there with mom and dad. Arms around each other. We all know that communities come together for all sorts of reasons. Some of them sad. This one, super, super happy. Abby, this is a joyous, joyous occasion. And what we Jews do when we know that we're in the midst of a particular type of time, sacred time, is we pray Shehachianu together. Literally, thank you, God, for allowing us to be together here and breathing. May we have this type of sanctity and holiness again and again and again. Page 5, friends, please join us, Shehachianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kimanu v'hegianu hazman hazeh.
You're going to continue on page 6, leading us there.
God, be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain with me a sense of holiness, inspire me in a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the direction of my life. I ask only that you strengthen me with desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends who all have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, on page 10, friends, we have Ashrei. Abby, Ashrei, Psalm 145 is a prayer which really raises up this idea of gratitude. And some of our sages have said that the key to living a life of meaning and being very, very present for all that happens with us is to be aware of the gratitude that we have all around us. So friends, as we antiphonally recite Ashrei, my hope is that each of you can take a moment in this time to think about what you have to be grateful for in your life. What are you truly grateful for in this moment? Abby, when you're ready, page 10.
Ashrei yeshvei v'techa, oji hallelujah, selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekachalo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav.
Tehillah leDavid, armimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avracha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarcheka, v'halala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai imhulam me'od, v'lik dulato ein heker.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, u'gvurotecha yagidu.
Hadar kavod hodecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz norotecha yomeru, u'gdulatecha asaprena.
Zecher rav tucha yabiyu, v'zid katcha yiranenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdol chased.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rahamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kavod malchutcha yomeru, u'gvurotecha yedaberu.
Lehodia livnei ha'adam gvurotav, ukvod hadar malchuto.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן לכם אכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראוהו באמת.
רצון ירעב יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיען.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל באשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, hallelujah.
Abby, on page 13, you're going to lead us in a responsive prayer. Friends, when we see the italics, that's all our part, and we send our light and our energy right up to Abby. Abby, when you're ready.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
We are warmed up. We rise for Baruch, page 15.
Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Is there something going on? Oh, sorry. Is it buzzing? Hold up. Well, we didn't get to the prayer yet, so it's okay. Let's get it to stop. Oh. No. All right, it was your mic. I don't know what to do. Why don't you swap the two mics? All right, now talking to that one.
Hi.
Okay, we're ready. Yai la lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Here we go.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
On your inside cover, you'll find Ma'ariv Aravim. Abby, the Jewish day begins at night, and we affirm with this prayer that each day that we have the chance to begin anew, that we have a chance to recreate ourselves, our home, the atmospheres, even the relationships that we have each time we approach the day, each day that we have. What's the big lesson here? Perhaps one, that we have some control over our destiny, and the other is that we're not locked into yesterday or yesteryear. Influenced, yes, but not locked into it. We are, in some ways, masters of our evening. Ma'ariv Aravim can be found on your inside cover.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim v'chochma poteach sharim uvitvuna meshane itim v'machaliv et hazmanim v'msader et hakokavim v'mishmeretechem barkia kirtzona Berei yom v'layla galel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or v'ma'avir yom imevi layla v'ma'avdil vein yom uvein layla Adonai sevaot shemel El Chai v'kayim tamid imloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
Amen, amen. And Ahava Rabbah can be found on page 16. You'll see, Abby, that Ahava Rabbah talks about God's abundant love. And when you look out into this room, you're going to see lots of faces of people who really love you. Go ahead and give her a wave, everybody. Give her a wave. This is a room full of love and people who are here because they love you and support you. And the prayer reminds us that there is abundant love for us, both with our family, our friends, our community, and as part of this, God. That God is part of the one who loves you very, very much. Ahava Rabbah can be found on page 16.
Ahava rabbah avtanu Adonai Eloheinu hemla gadola v'teira hamalta aleinu ba'avor v'tenu v'imotenu shibatchu v'cha v'atlamdem hukei hayim ken techonenu utlamdenu hamarhem rahem aleinu v'tein v'libenu l'havin ul'haskil lishmoa l'amod ul'amed lishmor v'la'asot ul'kayem et kol divrei Talmud Tortecha v'ahava Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Amen. We all find our feet on the floor, and with a nice deep breath together, we get ready for our Shema, page 18.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Abby, in a moment, you're going to lead us in Via Havta, which is the second part of the Shema. The Via Havta, Abby, is a prayer which reminds us that we have a best possible self, that we have a particular orientation that we could have. In it, there's an implied question. When is it that we're supposed to be our best self? When is it that we're supposed to be God-focused? When is it that we're supposed to raise up our Judaism? And the answer at first seems simple, Abby. Well, when you lay down, when you stand up, when you're at home, when you're on the way. In other words, always. But always actually isn't a very good answer. How can you do something mindfully always? Really hard to do. So the Via Havta prayer reminds us that we have reminders all around us. The mezuzahs on our houses, our synagogue, the Diamond Family Religious School, the Jewish books in our home, the Passover Seder plates, the Shabbat candles. All around us, we've consciously put reminders that we can be the very best piece and part of ourselves if we would only open our eyes and take a step forward towards it. Via Havta, page 18.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mesalecha hayom al levavecha v'shinotam b'mecha v'dibarta b'am V'shivtecha v'betecha u'vavtecha v'derech u'shofbecha u'kumecha
ושרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לצוצפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Amen. Okay, I would like to invite up Sister Emily to come down and meet your grandmothers, Dot Cohen and Susie Kravitz, to lead us on page 19 responsively.
Adonai our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You are in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song to you. And still today we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Evening Michal Mokaf can be found on the back inside cover.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha na'et ba'kodesh, norat tehilot osei feleh, norat tehilot osei feleh. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, ukei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'ameru.
We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. And we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. This struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, of transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into the world. We rise on page 21 for our Amidah.
Abby, go ahead and grab a mic. We want your lovely voice heard. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu.
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, V'Zoker Hasted Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'achava,
Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch
Atah Adonai,
Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atav V'Hoshiach, Mashiv HaRuach, Umarid HaGashem, Mehakel Hayim Behesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Ramim, Somef Noflim Verafeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishanei Afar, Micha Melcha Ba'al Gevirot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimid, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman Ata L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechaye HaKol.
I'd like to invite up Aunt Lisa Resnick to lead us responsibly on page 23.
This or this?
Either one.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Kiddushah, page 24.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשממרו, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. Hallelujah. לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. Here comes your part. לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור.
Door by door.
לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. Abby, you're going to lead us responsively on page 25.
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Together, Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength, and a perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony.
A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is a part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. As we get ready for Yismachu on page 26, if you are a bar and bat mitzvah student online here for a credit, this is where you tell us who you are and what you are grateful for this Shabbat. Yismachu, page 26.
ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Hands together.
מקדשי שבי שבת. רצית בו קידשת שבת, חמדת ימים, אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
I'd like to invite up great aunt and great uncle Barbara and Louis Druxman to lead us on page 27 responsibly.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes, and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. I'd like to invite up friends Stacy and Kevin Brown, Peggy and Seth Marcus to lead us on page 28.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace.
Page 28.
Page 28.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chin v'chesed v'rachamim. Chin v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha.
I invite everyone to take a moment of silent prayer, meditation, connection, communion. A moment to silently have that conversation with the divine. Strange is our situation here on earth. Each of us has come for a short visit, not knowing why, yet sometimes seeming to divine a purpose. From the standpoint of daily life, however, there is one thing we do know, that we are here for the sake of humanity, for the countless unknown souls with whose fate we are connected by a bond of sympathy. Many times a day, I realize how my own outer and inner life is built on the labors of my fellow human beings, both living and dead, and how earnestly I must exert myself in order to give in return as much as I have received and am still receiving.
Oh, say shalom bimrama. Oh, yeah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, v'imru, amen. Yeah, say shalom. Yeah, say shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Yeah, say shalom. Yeah, say shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Yeah, say shalom. Yeah, say shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Yeah, say shalom. Yeah, say shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael.
I invite our parents, Alan and Laurie, to give to your daughter the parent's blessing on page 31. These words are an amalgamation of different sayings from the Talmud. These sages were not only great rabbis, but they were also parents. And so now their words come through the ages from you to your daughter on this day of her bat mitzvah.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness. A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Yeah, beautiful. All right, hang up out there, parents, because we're going to get ready for our Torah service, which you'll find on page 32, inviting up Hillary and Craig Levy and Andrea and Andy Littman, also inviting up Jerry Person and Edie Beckerman to help undress the Torah. By the way, Hillary and Craig and Andrea and Andy are going to be opening the ark, so I'd ask everyone to rise, please. Also looking to bring up grandparents, Leon and Susie Kravitz, Dot and Warren Cohen.
All right, friends, we are on page 32. We can go ahead and open our ark openers, and we'll join together in Ki Mitzion. Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah, Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato.
Okay, so turn around and face everybody this way. We have our grandparents lined up right here. Excellent. I don't care about the order, I care about the step. Nobody fall, please. Okay, Abby, hi. So it's been a minute since we've been able to do this, and I'm really very glad to be here with you. So Abby, you and the Torah have something in common, and that is that you are so loved, and that you're both here very much because of the decisions that have come from the generations before you. Your parents, take a look behind you, your grandparents, and Abby, if you look over Grandpa's shoulder, you're going to see your great-grandparents. You know what I mean by that? And behind them, your great-great-grandparents, and great-great-great, and great-great-great, to the extent that you could have the Jewish generations wrapping around the sanctuary again and again and again. We believe that they're here right now, and that they're smiling because of what you're doing. And that is that you are taking on the privilege of Torah, the responsibilities that come with that, and all the wonderful life orientation that comes with being part of a people designed to take the world from where it is to where it needs to be, a place of brokenness to a place of health and healing and wholeness. So it's absolutely wonderful that we do that. So we will symbolically pass the Torah down through the generations. Give it a little hug. There you go. We pass to Mom. I'm actually going to pass the Torah to Dad. Alan, you got it? Okay, now Abby, you're going to face your dad. Okay, now you're going to put it right on her shoulder. Okay. Don't let go until she has it. Let's see here. Now we take your other arm all the way around. It's not heavy, it's just bulky. There you go. You got it? Okay, and we're all going to face out this way. Here we go.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromema Shemo, Yachdav. The ark openers can close it. Lecha Adonai Hagibura v'hatifera v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki ho b'shamayim u'va'aretz הארץ כי כה בשמיים, ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה, ומתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. All right, friends, please be seated.
Have Rachel making sure this one works?
Yeah, let me swap them. All right, try that, Mike. All right.
You are good.
So, friends, we are, if you would like to follow along in the Torah, along with Abby as she chants this afternoon, you can turn, or first go under your chair, and you want to reach for the prayer, or for the Torah. It says Torah. If you pick the one that says Mishkan Tefillah, it's the other one. They're both blue. They're very creative in the Jewish world with our book colors. So you want the one that says Torah, and we're on page 686. Yeah, switch out the mic. So we're on page 686. And our Torah portion right now is Pekudei. We are finishing the book of Exodus. The Israelites have left Egypt. They've been wandering, they've been building, and they are completing this wonderful creation, the Mishkan, the place where God is supposed to dwell with the Israelites. So friends, Abby's going to be chanting for us from Exodus 40, verses 27 to 38. Our Torah blessings are on page 34. And for our first Aliyah, it is my pleasure to call forward the grandparents who are so nearby, Susie and Leon Kravitz, as well as Dot and Warren Cohen. Ya'amdu Yaakov Vishoshana Batsara Moshe Velel Veduba Frachta La'aliyah. Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Amen.
Vayakter alav ketoret samim ka'asher siva Adonai et Moshe. Vayasem et masach ha'petach lamishkan ve'emizbah ha'olah sam petach mishkan ohel moed. Vaya'al alav et ha'olah ve'et hamincha ka'asher siva Adonai et Moshe.
Beautiful. And our blessing for after. Amen.
All right, go ahead and give her a hug and a kiss. So friends, as the hugging and kisses is happening, I want to remind everybody that it doesn't matter if you've been to one bat mitzvah or 100. I don't want you to forget that what Abby is doing is really hard. She's literally been studying for years to be able to do what she's doing right now, which is chanting in the original, from the scroll itself, in a language that she didn't grow up speaking, with no accents, vowels, or cantillation marks. This is really, really hard, and it's super impressive that she's doing it. Rabbi Rachel?
Our second Aliyah, we call forward proud aunt and uncle, Jenny and Andy Kravitz. Ya'amdu Shendel Tamar bat Menachem Yisrael Hanan ben Yaakov la'Aliyah. Baruch Adonai Amvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Le'olam Va'ed. Amen.
Vayasem et hakiyor vein ohel moed uvein hamizbeah vayitain shama maim lerochsa verahatsu mimenu Moshe v'Aharon uvanav et yedehem ve'et raglehem vevo el ohel moed ukorvatam el hamizbeah yerhatsu ka'asher Siva Adonai et Moshe.
Beautiful.
Amen. Oh, good hugs. All right, so they also don't have to go very far, but it is especially an honor to call to the, closer to the Torah, if you will. Proud parents Lori and Alan Cohen, as well as Abby's older sister, Emily. Ya'amdu Aviva bat Yaakov, Shlomo Reuven ben Moshe Velvel, Dorit Chana bat Shlomo Reuven ve'Aviva la'Aliyah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Amen.
Vayakem et hechatzer Saviv lamishkan velamizbeah vayitain et masach sha'ar hechatzer vaychal Moshe et hamlacha vaychas he'anan et ohel moed ukvod Adonai ma'aleh et hamishkan velo yachol Moshe lavo el ohel moed ki shachan alav he'anan ukvod Adonai ma'aleh et hamishkan.
Beautiful. Amen. All right, Mom, Dad, and Emily, your job is to watch the yad so that it doesn't move from the start of Abby's fourth Aliyah. And Abby, your job is to go take a seat for just a moment. And friends, the reason we have Abby take a seat is so that she can truly fulfill what it means to have an Aliyah, to make Aliyah LeTorah, to rise up and come to Torah upon the age of mitzvot. That Abby, you become with this final Aliyah a fully capable adult, at least in our Jewish community. Your parents might have other things to say about that. But here in the Jewish world, you count in a way that spiritually we couldn't before. And so you've always mattered to the congregation. You've always been an important piece. And now as you make this ascension to the Torah, so too does your spirit rise up to be among us as well. And with that, I'll call forward Abby to our Torah. Ta'amad Rina bat Shlomo Reuven v'Aviva la'Aliyah. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Uv he'alot he'anan me'al hamishkan, yis'u b'nei Yisrael, b'chol masechem. Ve'im lo ye'aleh he'anan, ve'lo yis'u ad yom ha'aloto. Ki anan Adonai al hamishkan yomam ve'esh tihye laila le'enei kol beit Yisrael b'chol masechem.
Beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata v'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Abby, magnificent. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Congregation, please rise. Lori and Alan, please put a hand on her shoulders. Emily, you too. Go ahead. Friends, we are going to, with the open Torah, give a special Misha Barak for Abby for her continued spiritual growth. Abby, the idea is that this moment, this bat mitzvah can serve as a spiritual cornerstone for you, a place you can always find your way back to, but also push off from wherever you're going to go. We'll go in Hebrew and then in English. Misha Barak avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yakov. Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yavarech, Et, Marina, Bat Shlomo, Ruvain, Ve'aviva, Shehagia, Limitvot, La'alta, L'Torah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Yis Mereha V'chayeha, L'chodnan et liba, L'yot Shalem im Adonai Eloheha. L'hagot b'Torato, L'lecha b'drachav, L'lishmor mitzvotav, V'tim sechen, V'seichel tov, Ve'nei Elohim V'adam, V'nomar.
Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Abby, who's come up for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people. And we say to that,
Amen. All right, so Rabbi Spike, I'll invite you to head up there to help with our dressing of the Torah. We'll remain standing, and I'd like to invite forward friends Brian and Ner-El Korov. Did I get it? Yes. All right, to help in dressing our Torah. And Rabbi Spike will help us with a little Hagba here. So we're on page 36. V'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe yai Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai. Friends, you may be seated. And Rabbi Spike, if you'll just help with the microphones to set Abby up as she now has the chance to teach us words from Torah. So not only has she accomplished this amazing task of reading from our Torah scroll, from our text that we've been reading for thousands of years, so too did she study that text, come to understand what it means and the lesson that it teaches us today.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Pekudei from the book of Exodus. In this portion, the Israelites are escaping slavery in Egypt. They camp out at Mount Sinai, and Moses instructs them to build a portable sanctuary known as a tabernacle. Moses keeps a very neat list that says what each person has donated or helped out with. The list has everything that they used to build it, such as materials, furnishings, and donations. He double and triple checks the entire list multiple times to make sure everything is correct. Moses does this so that everyone is held accountable to what they've done. When he is done checking, he has more money left over. Moses says to God, "What should I do with all this leftover money?" God replies to him saying, "Give it back to the community. Use that money to help the tabernacle." Moses also had a uniform and certain rules for each person to follow to make sure everything is done correctly and the space can stay holy. Finally, when the tabernacle was finished being built, they anointed it. This means that they smear oil on it to make it more holy. After they were done smearing the oil, they can feel God's presence. When the entire thing was done, there was a cloud over the tabernacle. Moses couldn't enter because of the cloud. Once the cloud lifted, the Israelites would start to make their journeys. Then they would feel ready to make their way to go find the promised land. The lesson that I learned from this is that having a community is very important. We need a community because everyone can rely on each other for things they need. In my Torah portion, the Israelites have a very strong and trusting community. They all understand that they can rely on each other for help. The Israelites worked together to build the tabernacle. Once the tabernacle was built, they felt God's presence. This meant that once they had all worked together to accomplish something, God was there and ready to guide them on their journey. Obviously, the world has really changed since then. Now, our version of communities aren't Israelites building a tabernacle. Now, it is a group of people who can rely on each other for anything. Some examples are school, friends, sports, Temple Emanu-El, and many others. A community I've been a part of my whole life was teammates. They are always so fun to be around, but also they make sure you get things done. Since we all spent so much time together, we became super close with each other. This built a very strong bond between us. We all push each other to always do our best. This made coming to practice so much more fun. Another community I'm in a part of is school. Even though the past 2 years have been very different because of COVID protocols. Last year, because of COVID protocols, our grade was split up into cohorts. This gave me a chance to become better friends with my classmates. Since it was such a small group, we were able to help out with each other, homework or questions. This was a small school community. Becoming a bat mitzvah means that I am now an adult in the Jewish community. To me, this means that I am now a leader. I plan on being a madrichim in Sunday school and teaching younger kids what I learned during my bat mitzvah process. Over the summer, my family hosted a shinshinin. Her name was Yav. It was such a fun experience getting to know her and learning more about Israel. I want to go to Israel so I can visit her and see all the things she told us about. When I am older, I plan on joining a synagogue, raising Jewish kids, and giving them a Jewish education like my parents gave to me. The Jewish value that is the most important to me is giving tzedakah. This is very important because it is helping people when they are in need. Even if we are not donating money, we can still donate our time in the community. I have helped in the community by doing second helpings, the package good, and my mitzvah project. My bat mitzvah project was to raise money for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I chose this because it helps children get better when they aren't feeling great. Shoah has helped me and so many other children in Atlanta. I raised money by making bracelets and selling them. I raised around $900. All of the money that I raised went directly to Shoah. I am very grateful I had the opportunity to help kids recover and get back to their normal lives. I want to thank all my friends and family so much for being here today. It means so much to me that everyone came from Atlanta and from everywhere else. Thank you so much, Rabbi Rachel and Rabbi Spike, for helping me write my Devar Torah and guiding me with this process. Thank you to Elon for helping me learn all of my Hebrew and being very patient. Grandpa, thank you so much for being super funny and always making me laugh. Grandma Dot, thank you for making the best chocolate chip cookies and model bread. It's always so good. I love you both very much. Grandpa, I love going mini golfing with you, even though you always win. It's still fun. Captain, thanks for being the best shopping buddy. I love you so much. Emily, you're so thoughtful and you're always thinking of me. You're so much fun to be around and you always make me laugh. Dad, thank you for always trying to make me happy. No matter what, you always say happiness is the most important thing. I love it so much when we go out for ice cream together. I'm glad someone in our family loves dessert. Mom, thank you for planning the best weekend ever. I'll remember this for the rest of my life. I love our sushi movie nights together, and they're always so much fun. Lastly, I want to thank everyone for being here today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Abby, beautifully said, beautifully done. Clearly standing before us is a young Jewish woman with real depth. And you did a beautiful job reminding us the importance of community and sacred spaces for us to really see each other openly and honestly in order to not get something from one another, but to examine the higher existential questions and bring about the very best of who and what we are. Your Haftarah which you'll find everybody on Plout, pages 727 and 728. That's the blue book underneath your chair. Your Haftorah is a continuation of your Torah portion in some ways, coming from the book of 1 Kings, chapters 7, verses 48 through 51. The continuation of the Mishkan, once we do enter the land, is the building of the temple and the sanctity that we as Jews bring to the place and the space that we are in, but most importantly to one another, is talked about in your Haftorah. So when you're ready, everyone, the blessings are on page 36 and 37.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah v'Moshe avdo v'Yisrael amo uvinvi'eh ha'emet b'tzedek. Vayas Shlomo et kol hakelim asher beit Adonai et mizbah hazahav ve'et hashulchan asher alav lechem hapanim zachav ve'et hamenorot hamesh miyamin ve'hamesh mismol lifnei hadbir zahav sagur Ve'haperach ve'hanerot ve'hamelkahayim zahav ve'hasipot ve'hamzamrot ve'hamizrakot ve'hamaktot zahav sagur ve'hapotot ledaltot habayit hapnimi lekodesh hakodashim ledaltei habayit lechahel Zahav. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol olamim sadik b'chol hadorot ha'el hane'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'limnucha, lechavod u'tifaret, al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umbarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai, tamid le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo,
mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Beautifully done, beautifully done. And so at this time, having completed our Torah reading, having engaged with us, teaching us Torah, having now also chanted for us Haftorah, Abby, why don't we go ahead and put the Torah back in the ark? Sound like a plan? All right, so friends, we are on page 39, and I'd like to invite forward Ann and Avi Schaefer to come on up to open the ark, and if the congregation will please rise. Go ahead. Eitz Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Amenu Chadesh Amenu Kekedem. Please be seated.
So, Abby, Rabbi Rachel and I have said it before, but it's worth repeating. of all the things that we get to do as rabbis here at Temple Emanu-El, including ruckus Friday nights and high holidays and weddings, what we've been doing with you for the past many months is our most favorite thing. And that is getting to know you at a deep level and studying Torah Shema, study for the sake of higher thought, higher thinking. So a little background, because we've got some connections, you and I. I got to know your mom through sweating together at Orange Theory. And we became friends as we were trying to become the best versions of ourselves. Let's just put it that way. And your dad and I got to be friends when we rode in the car with Seth Marcus, and the three of us went to an anti-Semitism rally in Cobb County shortly after Yom Kippur. You and I started studying together when you were ready to begin this process, and my first impression of you was that you were very smart and somewhat reserved. You weren't a talker. And yet, what I saw pretty quickly through our time together is as soon as you got comfortable, you really did open up. You were quick to ask questions. You easily got beneath the surface of the text. And when we talked about where do you find God, your answers were very clear. And that was in community. You most feel holiness when people come together and there's that certain something, that certain je ne sais quoi that people can have when they really are connecting. And I admire that. Not everybody is able to identify where they experience God in their lives, but you were. This is the perfect Torah portion for you, because that's what it's all about, or perhaps that's what led you to those answers. So my hope is that you take the depth of the person who you are, and you are deep, and you take your natural love of community, and clearly you have lots of relationships that mean a lot to you, and you keep on fostering them. And through your presence and your quiet charisma, that you raise them up. And in doing so, you raise us all up and take us somewhere really, really amazing. Keep that quality. Do it more, because we need it. Okay? I'm very proud of you. What you did today is hard. You did it beautifully, and you led with both grace and poise. And for that, you are to be commended.
Abby. So, one of the things I want to name before we even start is clearly you have so many people who love your family and who love you. And it's wonderful that folks can be in the sanctuary with you today, because, Abby, it's one thing to, your dad and I were just talking before the services, it's one thing to do gymnastics in front of a crowd. There's no words. You might worry about if you're going to get something wrong. Like you might fall, you might not. You might stick the landing, you might not. But that is this gift of your athleticism that you're giving to the world in that moment. And that's a big deal. Gymnastics is a tough thing. But today, being up here in front of close to 100 people, leading us in Torah, now that is something much deeper. That is something spiritual. That is something Jewish. That your Jewish identity was able to shine for everybody, that you had the chance today to teach people, I see some younger ones, so teach some people who were younger than you, your peers who are the same age as you, and folks who have a few years on you here. Okay, and you taught everybody from that group. And I heard you say that you want to be a madricha. And Abby, we are lucky to have somebody like you who's going to come in and continue to teach. You've done so from the Amud in front of everybody today, and our hope is that you continue to come back with us, sitting on the floor with the little kids, teaching them their Aleph Bet, helping them to be standing right where you are today as well.
And so now, I'll ask the congregation to rise as Rabbi Rachel and I, with the entire congregation in presence, impart to you the priestly benediction, Abby, the blessing that we've been giving to our youth in liminal moments of time like this since time began as we know it.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yis Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face turn towards you, Abby, and grant you the greatest gift of all, what you've got right now. Surrounded by love, family, and community. The Torah is at your back, the Ner to meet above you, your whole life ahead of you. All the doors open, a sense of wholeness, completeness, and peace. We all say,
Amen.
Please be seated unless you're Abby's mom and dad, in which case I invite you on up. And now if you want to pick up one of those handheld mics, that might be a way to make sure that you two are really heard.
Let me flip that switch on.
Alan, Abby, Emily, and I want to express our sincere thanks to those of you here today and watching online. We live in interesting times and are so appreciative of those who are here today and very understanding of our family and friends who cannot travel. Before we get started, I want to take a deep breath. I want you to take a deep breath and just look out in this room. The people who are here, your friends, your family, your coaches, your teammates, your classmates, these are your people. This is your village. Just take out a look. You don't get to do this very often. Soak it in for a sec. It's truly amazing. Each of you in this room has definitely played a role in your life and are here to support you. This is your village. These are your people. Enjoy everything about tonight. Abby, Dad and I have been more excited for this exact moment than you probably realize. Yes, you did an amazing job. You are a rock star today with your bat mitzvah, and we are super proud of you. Dan and I especially embrace these next few minutes as we recognize the opportunity to speak without you interrupting us may never happen again. So here we go. When Dad and I picked your name, we used the initials of loved relatives who passed away. The A in Abby is for my Grandma Dorothy's sister Ann, who you didn't know, though was very sweet and generous. The S is for Sophia. The S is for Sophia, which is Dad's Uncle Stephen, and like him, you have a bright smile and a creative mind. It wasn't until recently when I looked up the origin of your name did it become crystal clear that Abby Sophia was truly a perfect fit. Abby means father's joy, and Sophia means wisdom. Perfect. As you know, you are our trusted advisor, and now we know why. You are always there with an open ear and a logical mind, and have a good sense of sharing your thoughts. In the spirit of Lador Vador, meaning from generation to generation, you are continuing a Jewish path that was carved by your grandparents, their parents, great aunts, and uncles. Dad and I continue to provide a foundation that you are making your own, and it's a privilege to watch you grow and evolve. 13 years ago, you changed our life. For a while, you were a terrible sleeper. That confused days and nights, and Emily wasn't so excited to share Dad and me. At one point, asking when we would return you to the hospital.
Very true. So it's hard to believe you're now 13 years old. The days have been long and have had many more ups than downs, though the years have flown by. Mom and I continue to have a front row seat to watch you grow up into a terrific young woman and learn from you. 3 things stand out about you. First, you're a great person who makes good choices. You are thoughtful about others and willing to do what it takes to make people feel good, whether it's helping someone, listening, or simply sharing a smile. You do the right things and do things right, even when no one is watching, and have the courage to stick to your principles, even in difficult circumstances. This makes Mom and me particularly proud, as you have an amazing foundation to build on and in recognition of the impact of your choices on family, friends, and community. Second, you have a curiosity to learn and try new things. It's awesome to watch you explore, whether it was learning to swim, ride a bike, arts and crafts, cooking and baking, car karaoke, still trying to figure that one out, horseback riding, track and field, challenging yourself at school, volunteering, and so much more. The exploratory mindset will serve you well as you continue to grow and learn new things. Third, you have an unyielding determination. Wonder where you got that from. You always have displayed a strong confidence about who you are, a strong sense of what you want to do, make hard decisions seem easy, and as Mom and I have learned, you are incredibly strong-willed to make these decisions a reality, expressing your well-thought-out points of view to get us to bend to see how things from your perspective. Whether it was switching from Davis to Galloway for middle school, and your open mind about going to a new school, not knowing anyone, or going from 12 hours of gymnastics to 20 hours at age 9, your unyielding determination is an incredible asset to help you achieve and surpass your goals. As you continue to evolve into a young Jewish woman, it's not just the road you have traveled, it's also the roads and journeys you have not yet traveled. As adversity presents itself on life's journey, know you have a foundation of family, friends, and community that will support and lift you throughout those good and difficult times. And on this journey, Mom and I have 3 goals for you. First, as you talked about in your speech, be happy. Hardly a surprise since we talk about it countless times. Though truly, it's what we want most for you. Keep in mind that things don't need to be perfect to be happy. We encourage you to stay positive, have a big smile, surround yourself with great people, and make sure you have fun. Second, learn continuously. Every day is a new adventure and an opportunity to learn, and life teaches some hard lessons that provides constant opportunities to apply learnings. Things will happen, and life will throw you some wildly unexpected challenges. When you had a rare elbow injury from gymnastics requiring surgery and a steep recovery, it was quite the series of unexpected challenges. These adverse situations provided golden opportunities for learnings and to spark your curiosity to try new things. Third, do good. The world's not an easy place because of the demands on your time and on your mind, and taking shortcuts can be oh so tempting. When we met the legendary gymnastics coach Val at UCLA, she summed it up very well. There are no shortcuts to success. So keep that in mind, stay true to who you are, and know that your values are not for sale. And lastly, I'll share the day I picked you up from preschool, and your teacher told me you explained to another child that life's not fair. As we drove home, 5 years old, I asked you about it, and you plainly said to me, "Well, Dad, am I wrong?" Abby, you aren't wrong, and know that Mom and I and the people in the room and watching online are your biggest cheerleaders and can't wait to see what you do to make the world a better place. We want you to have a lifetime of good health and happiness while staying true to your Cohen Core 4 values. We love you a ton and are super proud of you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And stay up there, and Emily, you're going to come up as well. And before we begin to conclude our service, I would be remiss if I did not wish a very happy birthday to Leon Kravitz, who turned 80. This is Abby's grandpa, back on March 3rd. So mazel tov on that birthday, a big one. And so, friends, we will begin to conclude our service. Page 40, I'll ask that you please rise. Family, go ahead and head to the ark so that it can be opened. As we pray together, Aleinu l'shabeach. Go ahead and open it. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gidula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu ka'em,
וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We close the ark.
Congregation can be seated. Family to the bema, please. Friends, we're getting ready for Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 41. Abby, we believe, of course, that those who we have loved and our family have loved who have passed are very much present and smiling because of who and what you are becoming and what we're doing. Your family on this joyous occasion welcomes the memories of Donald and Helen Fogel, Stephen Crown, and Dorothy Williams. Friends in the sanctuary and who are streaming with us, if you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days after a loved one's passing, I would ask you to rise now and be recognized. Please remain standing. If you're in the first year of mourning, a loved one's passing, I would ask you to rise now and be recognized. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, I'd ask you to rise now and be recognized. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for the 6 million who have no one to say Kaddish for them, I would invite you to do so now. Picture the people that you are saying Kaddish for, the person you're saying Kaddish for. Picture them healthy and strong, happy and hale. Picture them at a time of life where there was joy. Now have their eyes turned to you. Your gaze meets theirs. And together, you slowly smile. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'omad yivrach hirotei, ve'yamlich machotei, v'chayei chon v'yomei uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'glav yizman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei abayam. Yitbarach.
V'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita la, shmedu kutsha, barichu, la'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, dami rambe alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Osei shalom v'imru mav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Osei shalom b'imru mav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
Aron lebracha. Would everybody else please rise? We have Havdalah, and family, if you can go stutter step to your left. We Jews began Shabbat by lighting candles. We end by lighting not really a candle, but a torch, an intertwined set of 4, 5, or 6 strands representing the Jewish people, but in this case, perhaps a family coming together to bring the love and the joy of this type of simcha. So Abby, if you will light your Havdalah candle. We're going to bring all of our senses into this.
Yai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen borei pari hagafen yailai 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. For spices, borei mine, sorry, borei mine v'samim, borei mine v'samim, yalalai, yailai, yalalai, yailai, yalalai. Yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, yalalai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh yailai, yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai Yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, yalalai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol.
Emily, this is your part. We're going to extinguish.
Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol hatotenu hu yimchol zareinu v'chaspenu yarbei kachol v'hakochavim balayla Eliyahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu 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 hagiladi B'yamei Yamenu Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David. Do we have Hala? Okay. Simen Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Simen Tavu, Simen Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Simen Tavu, Simen Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Mazel Tavu, Simen Tavu. Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu. Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ubechol Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ubechol Yisrael, Yeheilanu, Yeheilanu, Ubechol Yisrael.
Mazel tov, everybody.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.